Today I'm going to talk about something which is, frankly speaking, still difficult to describe. I'm going to talk about LABORATORIA Art&Science Space, which I'm running in Moscow. Here we are in the garden of lab. LABORATORIA turned 5 years this summer. You see the number here. LABORATORIA is a non-profit institution which is founded as a foundation to support this area of scientific artistic interactions, and we are located in a quite an interesting place, in a scientific physical chemistry institute. But let's stay a little bit in the garden, and I will show you one of our long research projects, which is still here in the garden. This called, very beautifully, the Ministry of the Truth of the Dove of Peace. And this is not only a pigeon's loft, but also a research station to research birds' behavior. This project is realized by artists and advised by neurobiologists. The idea behind it was to study humans' behavior patterns on animals, for example, leadership or group behavior. The artist's choice was rats first, but then the scientist, he recommended to take birds because they have, for example, pigeons, they have enormously good vision, the very sharp eyes. And then they turned to these experiments with pigeons. Here you see we conducted a series of experiments. Here are 2 examples of them. Pigeons that were happily, the first one when the pigeons were happily watching a movie about birds of prey like eagles, falcons, and etc., and felt quite absorbed in it. And it was noteworthy that the result contradicted what ornithologists predicted. They said that the birds will be really afraid of these, birds that in reality they can't stay together at all. And then the second experiment checked pigeons' moral integrity. The artist cut pigeons' models from bread, one from white, one from black, and put them inside their house. His aim was to check would they eat their kind. And when they got hungry, pigeons became interested in these objects and started to peck them. And now let's go inside the laboratory. We have 2 halls and 300 meters dedicated not only to exhibitions, but we make plenty of meetings, discussion, lectures to unite scientists and artists. And usually from these meetings, exhibitions evolve. And so the problem is that not many scientists who are ready to work with artists, but also sometimes it's a problem that not so many artists who are ready to work really with scientists and who are ready to use technological language and to become a co-researcher and a collaborator. We search for these artists all around Russia, and it's interesting that some are really one of the best examples, not from Moscow, but for example from Ural area, like this group where the dogs run group, they are from Yekaterinburg, and this is a nice installation. Here on the slide you can see that it's called Faces of Smell, and here the molecules of smell are captured by special tubes, then they get to the gas sensing chamber and proceeded to the picture, which is a portrait of smell. And sometimes visitors are very surprised when the portrait of men's smell can happen to be a good-looking girl. One of our main strategies is to make artists interested in participation by opening doors of most cutting-edge laboratories. However, despite all our attempts and high expectation, the artists who get into those laboratories don't always receive what they look for, because what they look for quite often is impressive visual evidence. Thus, not every laboratory encounter results in a successful project. Still, there are a lot of fruitful collaborations that we did in our practice. For example, here you can see installation of experience. And this was when the artists transport the experiment conducted on rats to people. Don't think that we were so, everything is with rats, but it was for 2 years we worked a lot with neuroscientists. And it's interesting that, so we work with many different natural scientists, robotics and nanotechnologies and astrophysics, but it's strangely that one of the most vivid examples happened with neuroscience. So here we are. The artists build a room with automatic doors, which let people in, but don't let them go out. People need to solve a puzzle, like rats in Skinner's box. The clue was not to find the secret button, but to stay still for 10 seconds, and the system will open the door. The artist recorded a video and trajectory of the visitor's movement, which was useful for neurobiologists who observed the experiment conducted on people for the first time. We also dedicated to international projects, and it's also one of our strategies because we are in minority, so the institutions who are really dedicated to this cooperation with artists and scientists, so we always look for partners. And I was very happy to collaborate last year with the Austrian Cultural Forum. We hold an exhibition, Dust, so we collected, it was like 15 kinds of different dusts, and some of them from scientists. So we found nano dust and pollen dust and dust from this kind of these particles. So, and the exhibition was like really particles, quite distracted place. And also from international project, one of the major for last years was with Marina Abramovic, who is a Serbian artist, Serbian-American artist, with who we worked for 2 years. And he has an interesting experiment because the Marina is not the artist who really is in science and interested in science, but it's really a nice example that every artist can turn to science. Marina, she had a major show, one of her main performances in 2010 in MoMA in New York, and then she got interested and wanted to check her hypothesis, what's happening with the brain activity during nonverbal communication when people are staring into each other's eyes. So we transposed her experiment, her performance into the laboratory. We did this with American, it was our cooperative project, and with Russian neuroscientists, with Moscow State University, with Kurchatov Institute. So in Moscow, in a garage, in a cultural center, we showed a new performance already quite transformed. So we used electroencephalographers and new visual models to show what's happening with the brain. And then the new stage was in 2012, which happened in also, please notice, a very interesting place in Polytechnical Museum in Moscow. It was a really major event. So we had specialists from all over the world, not only neuroscientists, but also philosophers, anthropologists, musicians, and symposium itself was like a performance. It was very important who is talking to who and who is moderating, and the main core was Marina with her idea again with this nonverbal communication. And it's very interesting that it was not only again the continuation of interest of Marina, but it was scientists were very interested in Marina practices, in her performance and in her way of thoughts. So that was fruitful. I would say fruitful, yeah, because we can't really register the results immediately, because all what we do is not only like producing products, but we are making a lot of production, but it's not only about it. It's also this kind of communications, we can't, so they are also science art. Sorry that it's difficult to explain, but that results can be in some years, in 10 years, but they will come. I mean, the results of this kind of communications. And actually, our communication strategy is one of our main strategies, how we realize our projects. We invite scientists to our laboratory and we go to many excursions to them, and like Anton Zeilinger mentioned, so we disturb many artists, so we really try to get them interested. Sometimes it's really difficult, but I try that it should be somehow interesting for both sides, not only for artists, but for scientists. And when we find these people, we are very happy. I mean, it's like our main. And then community. Community, it's also, I would say, our strategy to find our own community, because we speak our own language, and the participants include not only natural scientists, but also philosophers, sociologists, and we create our new language with which is instrumental to a new type of communication. And then it's very interesting, and I'm always thinking of the status of the territory of science art, because where we are on the art one leg and on the science on another leg. But it's a difficult question, and I would say that its conditions resemble scientific experiments in quantum physics again, that particles and phenomena get fixed for an instance which can have implication on a global scale. It can be appreciated only in future. And I'm thinking that maybe in several years, maybe more, maybe less, we'll have this, maybe we'll have autonomy of this territory, and we'll not think that we are on the territory of contemporary art or contemporary science, but it's something third. But it's maybe sounds a little bit like utopia now, but where are our thoughts now? And what's coming soon? We are really very interested in quantum physics now, and I hope that in next years we'll show some new works, and will show new ideas. And actually artists in Moscow, knowing that I'm coming here, they asked to say to Anton Zeilinger hello, and that we would be so happy to invite him to Moscow. So that would be one of our, I'm announcing one of our plans. And another is that we are very keen on Arctic and Antarctic research now. So we have a huge platform with oceanographers, glaciologists, geographers, I mean, this kind of sciences now. And just to show you the different contexts we work in, I draw this, that in Moscow this month we have Moscow Biennale of Contemporary Art, and we show the exhibition Ice Laboratory. And in 2014 we have an expedition. It's a scientific expedition where we include artists. It's in August 2014 to Franz Josef Land, and we'll have a major exhibition in 2015 called Zone Zero in the biggest exhibition space in Moscow now, called Manege. But I mean, so it's contemporary art, then science, then something like politics and contemporary art. So we are in different contexts, and it's very interesting to be like really not only in a gallery,